Hey folks, Nick Tockert here with the Historical Fencing Guild. I'm proud to say the Historical Fencing Guild is supported and brought to you in part by the support of our good friends over at the Independent Creator Directory. That's IndieCD.org, your one-stop shop for the best and the brightest authors, artists, and musicians. We're also made possible by sales of the Simple Sword, the Fighting Axe, and the Simple Spear, all part of my ongoing series of Western martial arts manuals designed to help you go from having never handled a sword to teaching the art to others, as well as my other books, including but not limited to Haints and Hellfire. Please look these up on Amazon. Hi, guys. Been quite a week. I know we are planning to get back into, let's see. We need body armor and personal protection. Cool. We got a great subject tonight. We're going to get into that. I will be bringing up an image. And we'll do this, and we will get rid of this little gizmo here. Thank you. And I'm going to set this. Let me just do a couple tweaks because I need that. Thank you. And, nope, we need this. New. And we can use that mode. Cool. We should not need this for a while, and we should not need this for a while. All right. Let's see, what do I have? Yeah. Last time we went over, that color is wrong, sorry. We won't need it, immediately need it. Last time we went over budget, sword simulating objects. It was an in-depth study. I'm very pleased with the way it went. This time we've got a couple things to report. I also have some other subjects to discuss, but we are scheduled to discuss body armor. Again, on a budget. Let's go. Okay. We have a lot of options that we can go for when you are trying to create body armor for training. As usual, follow group conventions. Ask marshals, refs, etc. So the first thing you're going to do before you go getting into I need some armor, because you don't want to spend any money if you can avoid it, and spend as little money as possible when you do. You need to look up your group's rules. Okay. If your group has a set of rules, that's going to supersede anything I'm going to say. Also, please remember, armed combat training is dangerous, deadly. If you engage in that, you have to be you have to realize you are indeed putting your health and your life potentially on the line. I don't ever want you guys hinting at that. I don't want you ever forgetting the realities of what we're doing here. It's a lot of fun, but it also requires respect. Okay? I'm not liable for anything you do. This is just a lot of experience from somebody who's been in there. Okay? you're going to want to do research. You're going to look up Whitey vids, Google, books at library. Put in the time and effort. First and foremost, okay? You need to understand that without, if you just run into it guns blazing, you can make things that will hurt people or hurt yourself. You have to be in line. So let's talk armor requirements according to me. So let me see, how big is my eraser here? I want to make it a little bigger, sorry. Or it could keep flittering around. That's good. Because I'm not going to need delicate erasing, but I'm going to need to erase from time to time. Okay? If you are doing it yourself, let's talk. What are you protecting what? I hate when that happens. 1 second. Oh, it's going to be a pain. Here we go. There. Against. Be protecting. What are you protecting against? Do they match? They, please, match. Here is something I encounter constantly. Especially when you look at steel-based weapons. Most of the gear you're going to see that is entitled fencing gear, that is pitched and sold and used in combat of that style, is going to guard primary issue that it works against are broken blades. Or piercing damage. The broken blade is the boogeyman of a great many sword styles. And right and justly, it should be something we consider and perhaps we respect as an entity, possibly fear. That's why we have to do constant inspections of the gear to look for signs, pitting of the blade, any blade that's designed to bend. Okay, we're going to talk a weapon briefly. Over time, and I'm exaggerating this, a fencing sword, that's way too exaggerated. People get on me about that. There we go. Okay. Over time, a fencing sword, especially a heavy fencing sword, will start to develop a C curve. This is a natural evolution of the weapon's life. Okay? If by some chance, oh, this is the tip. Here, I will add a few more details. Actually, no, I don't want that there because I'll throw you. The true edge is away from us. So, I made the tip big because I want you guys to always look at the tip anyway. This is the thing you inspect to make sure that what's protecting the tip of the sword isn't broken. Now, if you see a sword that does that, at all, and I'm exaggerating it to make it easy to see. A real S curve may look almost akin to that. It's a very slope. But this is a lot of strain, and there's only this much and this much to flex around those given curves. It's not enough. It will snap. If you have a C curve, it probably won't snap, and it's most likely to snap at the tang or L bend angularly, like one of mine got bent that way, where they pressed it so hard that it actually just gave up the ghost. And that wasn't the weapon's fault. That was somebody being insanely poorly calibrated. But this is what we're talking about. This kind of scenario here gives a flat to possibly sharp profile of steel coming towards the fabric. So, to stop and limit that, it is a soft armor, which means we'll just leave the, what are they protecting against? I think that's important enough. Basically, it's akin to trigger cloth. It's tight woven. Stout fabric. You will see this in sport fencing, SCA, HEMA. You see this a lot. They may have padding. They talk about the test, and what happens is the fabric's stretched out, and a fixed weight with a designated tip, usually it's flat, so it looks like somebody cut a screwdriver off, is dropped from a fixed height onto the fabric. If it doesn't pop through the fabric, it's considered safe. This is the simplest way to look at it. I know that's how they do it in the SCA, at least they did back in my day. The problem is this should be a disaster scenario. Right? This should not be common. But if you fight with / against untipped blades, that I keep seeing, the slightly mushroom-ended blades on some fetters, just flat blades. Because these swords aren't supposed to be primarily thrusting. If they hit, especially an unsupported area, they can snag and sometimes punch right through. But that's what the armor's designed to do. It's designed to catch like a net the force and keep it from going into you or limit how deep it goes. That's what it's about. We have to understand that. This is a basic concept for most fencing armor at its base. I can fetch one of my coats to show you. Actually, I can right now. One little moment. Alrighty, we're going to do that. We're going to do that. Hi, guys. This is a good portion of my primary armor. We're going to talk about this piece of armor quite a bit. This is a gorget. It is vital. We can talk about its construction and what I did to it because of the same problem that I had. This is my primary fencing jacket right now. I purchased it from Amazon. It's by The Medievals. And it had the benefit of fitting. Okay? Now, there are a set of ties that can, there they are. Boop. Go in. There's a set of tie off. You can, I'm sorry, these guys go together. I'm not going to tie them because, frankly, it is very warm. And then you see the ties there. Again, I'm not going to tie them. I am thinking of having my lovely wife install some Velcro just to make it easier to go in and out for yours truly. This is a denim-like fabric. I don't think it would pass an SCA punch test, but I might be surprised. It's got padding, batting, like quilting, and a very soft, I'm not even sure what this inner lining is. It's very nice fabric. What this does is this provides some protection against broken blades and moderate protection against impact. But that by itself isn't enough. Okay? We need to understand that. Against heavier weapons, especially longsword styles, I see so many people going out in essentially sport fencing, which is designed against modern sabers, epées, and foils. It is not designed to deal with the forces and impact that come from a messer or, a greatsword. They're just not suitable. Which is why this will eventually be modified. When I fight, I wear thick, long gloves that tuck in. It covers me. My gorget goes over this, so let me fumble my way into this. This is over protection, but the I have to get it all, and honestly, it's tragic whenever someone has to tie themselves up. I'm having a bad hand day. My nerves are taut. There we go. And then, whoop. Now I will pull my collar up inside here, and that keeps me nice and protected, keeps my throat from getting caved in. It protects my lowers, the cervical spine, protects the vertebrae, and it reinforces my neck position. This keeps me from being snapped violently to one side to the other by heavy impact. Over this goes this. This is my new mask. This is a extra large. I got it from Riehn Mark. Coach's mask, which has extra padding because I take extra damage. I should have had this off, but that's okay. It does remind me. I desperately need to get some Velcro involved. This gives decent anti-piercing. It absorbs some impact, but not anything like a helmet would. A helmet is going to mount, and the weight of it is going to absorb a massive amount of the impact that you have to deal with. A fencing mask is good for controlled bouts, but if you're going with long swords, you really need to invest in a helmet. This is not budget gear. This is the coat. The coat, I think, was $70. The gorget was built by my old sword instructor, Mr. Dennis Yakus. He's SCA, and when I left, I basically lost ties with almost everybody else who was in the society. That's okay. He did the leather work, and then I came along because I realized it was too soft. This is water hardened. It's not wax hardened leather. Now it's about sweat hardened, in all honesty. So I got to practice my riveting, and these are galvanized steel joining materials that I cut the little prongs off of because they were the perfect size to reinforce the plates. This is a different type of plate I reshaped. These were all Menards buys. You can make one of these fairly inexpensive. Getting the right weight of leather, and honestly, I cannot remember the ounces to save my soul right now. I need to do a little maintenance on this old boy. But you can then use spray adhesives, heavy-duty spray adhesives to apply camp pad. And that's what that's going to do. This is a flex here, so there's a flex in the middle. You have hard over soft. This is both going to give you the rigid protection, but just enough mobility to function. And that is the line you have to keep. Again, I am planning to do a special on a day where my hands are working well, which unfortunately today is not, on making these especially because they're hard to find and they're rather expensive when you do. This is a lobster tail, so it is articulated. It gives me a little bit more range. I have a full wax one downstairs, but I find this one fits me better, especially since I can adjust. And if this ever gets too big of a gap, I could make a plate to go over it and just attach it to sliders or something. That I can mod this design. This is the design I will teach you. This is the design I talk about in my books. Very good. Now, you said budget, and we have to talk about what budget means. Forgive me, it is hot. We're going to talk about that too. I don't expect you to get something like this, okay? Especially if you're training by yourself. One of the easiest ways for the effect of hard over soft is to make just a padded shirt, pull-on hoodie style, put that thing on, and then armor it out. When we talk about armoring it out, we're going to have ties like this that tie plates on. You see these on the more expensive, heavier grade HEMA jackets. They are wonderful, but you can make your own out of HDPE, blue barrel. If you can get a good, clean blue barrel, the great big barrels they use for garbage cans, I want to say they're 55 gallon or something weird like that. Wear a mask, wear goggles. You might even want to tape your sleeves, long sleeves, and tape them. When you cut this stuff, because it will put out a lot of fine plastic, like plastic sawdust, that won't break down. It is devastating to get into your lungs. It is miserable to get into your eyes. Wear PPE. But you can get plastic barrels that have been cleaned from restaurants sometimes, from like car washes sometimes. You just have to be sure to wash them out really well. Look up what chemicals have been stored in them. Stick to blue or white. Black and red get real hinky in what's stored in them, so I would avoid those unless you have a guy. Do not steal blue barrels from parks or private folks who are using them from garbage cans. So that would be rude. Don't do that. But from there, you make your pattern. So you look up the type of armor you want. Dark Victory is an armor company, and you can buy from them if you choose. But they also give, in their designs, you can look at them and realize basically how it works. There are also many SCA resources. As long as you are well ventilated, you can heat HDPE and then shape it, cool it, and it will hold that shape. Really neat material. You can also drop, well, you can drop as much as you want, but drop some money, around $80 last time I looked. It may be higher, to get HDPE in a sheet that you can cut out just like fabric. Sometimes you can use shears on it. Usually it's just easier with a saw. You just have to be careful, sweep up everything, and keep it away from your pets, any kids. Get that stuff cleaned up. When you cut with a saw, you will need to clean it up on the edges. That can be done usually with a combination of dragging like a box cutter knife. Will let you be careful. We're talking about sharp implements. Cutting away from yourself will let you clear this up. Sometimes, again, if you're in a well-ventilated area, a jet lighter can melt the edge a little bit and smooth that out for you. You can easily drill it. And then I find if you set everything around the diameter of paracord, which is, 3/8, you can then make the plates you need, put them over you, tie the plates together, and have functioning armor. That can be done cheaply. You can also use sports equipment. Sports equipment like lacrosse gloves are the best of the sports equipment I have found for fighting. It's still better to have mitten-style gaunts if you can make them. And of course, you can use steel. If you are educated in the use of working with sheet metals and things, steel, I find aluminum works very well. A great many pieces of high-quality armor have been made for our purposes out of legally, look at me, legally retired signs. And then you just how do you get the shape? You look at what you need it to do, and you have someone put it on your body. You can even wear a t-shirt that fits, cut that out, and use that as the start. Okay? It's just like fabric. You will improve as you do more. Okay? So I'm hoping very soon to do some crafting videos. Or, of course, you can buy armor. Now, a lot of people will say it's better, but I've been seeing some very, very well-known brands fail very badly in recent months. So I'm hesitant. I'm to the point where I would rather trust my own knowledge and my own craftsmanship over an unknown identity. Again, unless you are working within a field. If you are fencing in a collegiate level, You have to use the recognized brands. Makes it simple on you. You just lay the money down. If you are self-training, again, you can get sports equipment. Motocross gear can help. I've used motocross gear. I've used umpire gear. I have used welding jackets. Okay, the leather welding jackets. You wear it and you realize what it does, and then you modify it for what it doesn't. So hard over soft is a buddy. Another thing you can do is lamellar. You can make these little plates, and there are patterns, or you can buy just the plates, and then follow a lacing pattern to lace yourself into this. If it comes to chainmail is something I have worn, I have fought in. It is not something I have made much of. I've done little patches of it. I can recommend some people to talk to. The first person I want to recommend is deceased, so that doesn't work very well. But maybe you can catch them on a Ouija board or something. I am joking. Miss you, Jess, every dang day. But your gear has to stop what you're opposing. So if you are taking concussive blows, and let's get back here. I'm going to prove a point over time. Okay. Piercing, resistant, armor, minimally, sorry, my brain fried. Minimally protects against impact. Okay. And ironically, it can be the other way. For example, a fabric Kevlar vest, light duty. What is it, like 2 to? Yeah, I want to say level 2 and under. That'll stop a light bullet, but it will not. A knife will go right through it, unless it's one wrapped in a special outer wrap. That's just the nature of the beast. So, for what many of us do, are you guarding against both? And most of the time, they aren't. You need to. So if you were training by yourself or with others, I would seriously, you can get all this. I'm going to leave that. I don't want you to forget this is dangerous. I'm not telling you to do it. Let's draw a dude, okay? This is our dude. I'm going to draw very simply, very deliberately, so that we can see all the relative parts. And add a bit more hip than I usually do because we need that. I need to move this up. That's on. Bonk. That's on. I just need to do that. Okay, cool. Back here. None of this should be surprising. Okay, so we have our dude. We'll even make him wave. He's a friendly dude. What do we need to protect? Where are we most vulnerable? Well, obviously, okay, you know what? Let's switch colors for a second. Obviously, we need the head and face. as well as the neck. We have to guard against piercing and impact. Sorry, the dyslexia is getting me again. You have your sternum. This is what's protecting your organs. This needs to be protected against piercing and impact. We're going to talk about the neck again later. Groin, knees, feet, especially toes. Shoulders, elbows, wrists, and hands. These are the prime areas. Oh, wait, one more. I almost forgot it. This area. We're going to say kidneys plus liver, etc. These are all areas we have to seriously focus on. So, we'll just go down through the pieces. We need to make sure the head is guarded against excessive impact. I'd like to be able to keep counting to 40 when I'm 50. You know what I'm saying? Stabbing. Okay. Real simple. Head crosses over to the neck. Impact. Stab. And leverage, which almost nobody talks about. That means your head can't take a hard enough hit that it overbends, that it twists too hard, can't get grabbed and twisted. That can snap a neck. It needs support. It needs protection. You want to protect the underside of your jaw. You want to protect where your arteries and veins are. You want to protect your throat. All that needs protection. Yes, I know. All right. Shoulders. Chiefly, you're looking at rotation tears. And you're looking at dislocation. Dislocation sucks. Dislocation in a combat scenario or a violent scenario really sucks. It can be the kind of injury that you never fully recover from. So if the shoulder is forced out of socket, if it is twisted to beyond its natural range, slammed in a door and pushed out, you could be severely injured. That's what the pauldrons are for. They protect against blows to that. Can also cause nerve damage and make you drop what you're holding. You want protection for the arms, the big bones in the arms and legs, but they're also very easy. Because that's just, please don't break my leg. The joints are the key issue. hinge joints. This is going to be your elbows and your knees. They want to work on this axis. Okay? They want to go, But what you don't want them to do is deviate on the front axis. So going like this is okay. Going too far without bending the shoulder, you have a little bit of wiggle, and that's still shoulder. If this goes, it's over. If you hit it and you reverse it, so if this is like this and impact comes like this, resulting in, hold on, that, you have problems. That's why we have round shoulders with round elbows with wings are recommended by us heavy fighters. It's mandatory to protect that joint, protect the vulnerable side of that joint. Same with knees. Okay. Now, all these guys are not protected by your ribs. They're protected oftentimes, especially by somebody like me, with a healthy layer of fat, and most strong people have a healthy layer of fat that is protecting these organs from impact and stabbings. It's vital. That's why you want to wear something like a weightlifter's belt. You also want to remember that your spine might want a back plate too. Most people forget about that. You want lots of protection on your back if you can do it right. Okay. Wrists and ankles are orbital. Okay? To an extent. You don't want to twist them farther than they're supposed to go. You don't want to dislocate them. This hurts massively. Lifelong pain. When we get to the fingers and toes, your hands are made of little tiny delicate fingers. These can be broken shockingly easily. Ask me how I know. We have to think in terms of sticks, guys. Everyone knows fingered gauntlets are the coolest looking things out there. They allow you fine motor control. It is beautiful. However, the price is massive because your fingers are just sticks. They can be snapped easily like twigs. When they are held together, they are stronger. So you put them in a proper clamshell if you can. The clamshell looks like an oven mitt. Very often extends a little bit past and will make contact with the weapon itself. And there's a reason for that. That way the force goes into the weapon. It travels through it and into it and not into your delicate little fingies. Make sure they fit. Make sure they wrap around and cover this. Because I have seen what happens when somebody's fighting and their pinky is stuck out a little bit and it catches a sword. It's disgusting. Closed gloves. It's just safer for impact based. Now, if you're doing lighter sparring, lighter fencing, heavyweight leather gloves will do you pretty well. Padded leather impact resistant gloves, and I'm going kind of budget wise. Hockey gloves. Hold on. This sounds like it should be another page. One second. Let me do this. Let me do this. And We'll come back here for a second. There we go. Gloves by price. What? That's a B. We're not doing this by price. Price. Okay. Prices going up as list goes down. Capiche? Capiche. Welding gloves. Gauntleted, which means it has the back, has the cuff. Garden work gloves. I consider absolute bare minimum for dang near anything. They will protect against light slaps. They will protect against abrasions. They will do very little against actual impact. And again, the pinky thing. Then you get into price-wise sporting gloves. Hockey / lacrosse. They're padded, they're bulky, but they'll work. Sparring gloves. These are essentially up-armored versions of hockey and lacrosse gloves, like Red Dragon Armory's gauntlets. Heavy. Gauntlets. I'm just saying that medieval recreation. Now, the price can go from $6 up to $600 real fast when you're into this stuff. So it behooves you to, if possible, learn to make your own. Okay? Many times you use this as a base, one of these, then you add plates, plus padding, and you end up with something that works on the cheap. Again, it would require a full crafting video for me to do that, but we can look into that, okay? While we're on these topics, shoes. Yes. I want to make this crystal clear. Do not fight barefoot. What about all the martial artists you see? Yes. In choreographed fights, yes. In MMA, yes. But when the other guys are wearing stompers and swinging sledgehammers, you don't put your tootsies out. If it is something you choose to do, I can't stop you. It is something I've had to argue with people, but you see somebody's toes get bent the wrong way a couple times. It doesn't take much. So they should be closed toe, flats, low heel. Oops, wrong one. Don't fight in high-heeled shoes. It's a good way to break your ankle. Can some people do it? Yes, but you're new and starting out, so you probably can't. We need to be safe. Ankle support. Fitting. Fit. They have to fit. Don't be slopping around in shoes that are too big. Not so small, because you'll end up with some hideous blisters. This is protecting your feet and ankles. Depending on what you're playing, steel toe / steel tongue, I think is what you call the ones that are over. I'm going to put a question mark because I know what they are. I just don't know what they're called. The ones where there's a metal flap that goes over. These may be a better idea. Because large men, if you're fighting an aggressive style, can and will step upon your feet to keep you from moving. No combat heels. No battle wedges. If you are short, be short and balanced and under control. Anti-slip is good. Okay? Think about it. This is how we combat the base of injuries you're likely to encounter. This is what the armor's supposed to do. Now we're going to talk about something else. Your other enemy. Heat. Sure, let's do a quick test. Hi. Do you see how red my face is? Sweat. Not quite running, but I am cooking in this right now. Not bad. It's probably 60-something in here right now because of the window and the outside being down. But I am hot just moving and talking in this. Okay? And again, forgive any spelling typos that I have. You want to consider ventilation. This is where you look at the motocross gear is great for this. If it's sturdy enough and if it gives enough coverage, which it would help if I brought us back to where you can see what I'm showing. Sorry. Okay. This will really help you. I am going to use a brand name under armor. Heat wicking fabric. This is a lifesaver. And I mean that literally. This can help. You need as much ventilation as you can get, which is the great conflict between coverage and ventilation. And you want this. Hydrate. And not just day of. You have to stay hydrated, okay? And you can't come into it dehydrated going, I'll drink enough. You will hurt yourself. You will make mistakes. You will drop things. You could get sick. You could be in danger. Hydrate. Frequent breaks. You need to pause. You need to pop your top. Get off the field. Be safe. Lose the gloves. At least pop the top and let the heat billow off you. If you can do one of these, do one of these and just catch some air. Watch each other. I don't care what club you're in. I don't care what the standards are. You watch each other for issues with heat. I have been scolded. I've also saved lives so they can take a... Anyway, I almost said something vulgar. Inspect your gear. Inspect your gear. Before, inspect after any weirdness. Hard shots, falls, anything accompanied by a sounds, so if your gear rattles wrong, if suddenly you're walking but your gear is clanking more than it did, you may have a plate loose. If you hear fabric rip, you better stop and figure out where that was. And you're going to inspect it after the match. You're going to wash your gear. Man, I got so mad I turned white. Okay, hold on. I am stone serious. We're gonna erase this. This is gonna get a whole thing. Don't be that guy. Wash your gear. Wash your body. Wear deodorant. Buy all that is good and holy. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Nobody likes that guy. The one you can smell get out of his car. The gym bag he throws his gear in. smells like death and just rots everything around it. Yeah, don't be that guy. General ideas. These aren't quite patterns, but you're going to need a chest plate or plastron, bare minimum. It is basically the front of a closed vest shaped solid piece of plastic. You can articulate it, but if you don't know, go solid and work around it, okay? Your gorget could be a couple kinds. There's the kind with the built-in lip that looks very nice, so it's kind of shaped like this. And there's buckles. My gorget pattern looks something like this. So I want to show you because I want you guys to sit and get sheets of cardboard, save the boxes from Amazon, get some cheap rope or yarn, and figure this stuff out. There's a belted joint here. We'll just switch to black. Belted buckled joint if you have them on both ends. Okay? Okay? Over here, you're going to have a few pieces that are riveted in. I want to say I have 3 on mine. Where did it go? Here it is. I have 3. Okay. So the back is going to look basically, and I'm exaggerating it so that you can see. That's nice brush size. Give me 17 for now. Should be a bit more overlap, but we're going to make it work for the purpose of this discussion. And we're going, oops, back to 10. There should be see, this one's lined up right. Flat post part of a rivet, burr rivet. Let me fix this. There we go. Flat post part of the rivet against the skin, burr. There you go. You can hammer that together. This is leather. It may have over it outer plate, if they're the kind that look like this. Padding. Elbow cups end up looking something like this. But what you're going to see a lot of people are either something like this. You're going to see a lot. And these would be carpenter or please, thank you, gate border, elbows, and knees. If you make your own, the pattern will look something like this. And this isn't quite, this is not to scale, it's not proper, but these parts will be laced or riveted together to give you that shape. Pad. Look, quit doing that, Nikolai. Dang it. There we go. Pad inside. Okay. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Under this, you can put greaves that either are supported from below or more likely hang off of a harness that could go through like a belt loop. And then you have your knees, which we've discussed. So it goes chest plate. A lot of times your elbows are attached, your shoulders are attached to your chest plate. There may or may not be connective things here. Just do this. Gorget. Forgive my scribbles. I'm trying to prove a point. You'll have under here is your support belt that puts the weight of the legs on your hips and not resting on your ankle on the tops of your feet. You don't want to do that. Whoops. Leg options. You know what? Let's just do this. Again, you're going to have umpire. Oops. Oh, man, my dyslexia is running rapid today, isn't it? Umpire. You're going to have like softball. You'll see those. Ball legs. And again, motocross. Then you'll see that you can now buy dedicated legs reasonably cheap. And of course, you can make your own. There is one other part I want to talk about real quick. See, it's much cheaper now. You can dig around and find something that's essentially a bracer that has a bit of fabric or a tie of some sort that goes into an elbow cup. So, bracer, elbow cup. You can also do something called a sabaton. And they're a little different because they're essentially a trench that goes solid to the elbow. So it goes whoop. It does limit some of your motion because it won't let you fully extend your arm, depending on how deep that cut is. And then there's just flaps. I'll be making a bunch of these, possibly a bunch of these, because I have a pair of metal those, which I desperately need to get my paws on out of the garage. Okay? And again, easy to make. If I get it working, I will do videos and show you how. All right? So my armoring goals for me are plates for armored jacket. Yeah, my brain is fried today. Gorgets, plural, and place for the jacket, gorgets, probably plastrons. Eventually, I'd love to make some gaunts, but that's way out there. Okay? That's what I'm going to be working towards. That is the big overarching for this summer. This jacket is wonderful. It needs mods. I'm going to have my lovely wife mod it. I may have her take a pattern off of this and try to make something lighter that we can attach plates and have the padding attached to the plates. That's something I'm going to discuss. We'll see how it goes. Let's make some announcements. This is more geared towards the local guild, but we may have an indoor site for some light fencing. The site will require the use of polypropylene weapons, such as these. Probably a new waiver will have to be discussed. These are nice. They just don't have a keyhole grip, which means when my hand spasms, I drop them. That's a me problem, not a you problem. I'll probably have to fix the old small sword rapier that I made out of a gin, which means breaking that up and trying to attach a pommel to it. Okay? These guys are back in stock. They're about 2 for $50. I have used these for a few light sparring drills with some new folks. I think they're great. We're just going to see how long they hold up compared to the poly rapiers that I have. And it means I'm going to have to set up a travel bag. Plus my eternal quest for more cold steel parry dagger trainers, because those were brilliant. And I would love to make a begging call to get cold steel to get those guys back on the market. All right? Thank you guys for giving me lots of space in the chat today. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this, please like, share, and subscribe to this. I need you to keep your eyes open. I need you to do your drills. Be kind to yourself and each other. And stick around for next time for another episode of the Historical Fencing Guild's live stream. Till I see you next time, toodles.